Is it possible to go from 250 pounds to 220 pounds? I'm here today in this video to tell you, yes, it is possible. And I want to share with you the training protocol specifically that I used over about 6 months in order to achieve this physique transformation. Now, obviously, eating and nutrition is essential to lock in order to get this transformation for yourself. But I have a video, I'm going to link it in the description of this video that I already did. But today I want to talk about training. So there's a few different things within the 5 to 6 month period that it took for me to lose the 30 pounds while maintaining my muscle mass, my strength, my functionality, because that's extremely important. I have about 12 years of personal training, both in person and online experience of celebrities, pro athletes, and just a lot of everyday real people that are just trying to get their own transformation. Both men, women, young, old, no matter the occupation. And one thing that I see a lot is people want to shed weight as fast as possible. And the problem with that is a lot of people do steps like fasting and remain in a calorie deficit or overtrain, and I'll get to that in a second. And they end up losing a lot of the muscle that they may have been working hard to get for years or months. So what I want to talk about is making sure that we're staying in tune with our body so that we're not overtraining and undersaturating ourselves, so that we're maintaining the muscle mass while losing fat in a healthy way. Your organs, your central nervous system, your mind is full throttle functioning, because we do not want any hormonal dips. We want to make sure we're nice and level and we're recovering properly and hitting gym hard, but getting enough sleep in the process. So the first thing I want to talk about is cardio. So a lot of people are either in two camps. Number one, cardio is the way to lose fat. It is the best way to do it. Low impact cardio, fast-paced, intense cardio every single day, like wrestlers do, UFC fighters, or whatever, in order to shed fat. Well, let me tell you, cardio predominantly just increases your metabolism, which can have the effect of losing fat. But one thing that I have found for myself and training people for, again, about 12 years, is that you can mimic the same style of heart rate increase while you're actually doing your training. Now, if you're a bodybuilder and doing hypertrophy training, it's a little bit harder because you're doing minimum 90-second up to 2-3 minute breaks in between each set. You're going all out to get as much blood flow into each muscle group that you're hitting in the, let's say, arm day specifically, or quad leg day specifically. That said, what I did during the 6 months to go from 250 to 220 is I did about 3 days a week of low impact walking or rowing or fan biking. I typically did this at the end of my workout, and there's a lot of people, including Dr. Mike, that argue that it's not a good thing. Your glucose levels already burnt through, so by the end of the workout, you need to really give ample time to recover and blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you what I did. Take it or leave it. It is what it is. So what I ended up doing is, I'll just walk you through a split. So I care a lot about how I look because I do social media. It's how I market myself for my online and in-person training clientele, and you can click the link in my bio if you're interested. That said, I did 2 to 3 days a week of hypertrophy training. What I typically did was lower body day, push day, and pull day throughout the week, usually two days in between each. So like on Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday, then Saturday. The day that I knew I was going to have the most calories and the day that I was going to get the most sleep, I usually hit legs really hard, because leg day typically taxes the central nervous system, which really can cause stress to be released in your body through the next few days in order for the body to recover blood flow to get into that area and protein be able to build back up that muscle group. It is what it is. Leg day is always going to be the toughest if you're actually doing it properly and pushing hard enough. So again, 3 days of hypertrophy training, 2 to 3 days of low impact cardio. That can look like, I didn't do this, but that can look like swimming, bike riding. I personally did rowing, assault bike, the fan bike where you're using your lower body and upper body, making sure to use both. And then also low impact incline walking, or like a treadmill or a elliptical or a Stairmaster. I know there's a lot of options there, but the reality is that in order for you not to get burnt out in the weight loss process, you want to make sure to have a lot of variety. And then the final thing that I did, so right there, I would incorporate the cardio within the other types of lifting days that I would do, and then have my calorie count preset during those days, because I knew that I was going to be doing a hypertrophy, let's say push day, along with some kind of lower body fast-paced walking or something like that. Now, functional strength training is something that I'm so passionate about. It's so relevant to every human being's life. Anything that life throws at you, if you are functionally strong, you will have the rotational and anti-rotational ability in order to receive energy, push it away from you. If you fall down, slipping on ice, you have the ability to maneuver your body and manipulate your body and potentially your surroundings in order that you're safe. So reflex speed, functional rotational capability is a key thing. So I would typically do about 2 days a week of pretty heavy duty rotational functional strength exercises. That looks like a lot of landmine work. It looks like a lot of kettlebell work, some dumbbell exercises, a ton of cable machine stuff, and I absolutely love the cable machine. If you know me and you're watching this, you know that I love cable exercises. If you've probably seen it on my Instagram. So that being said, that's about 5 to 6 days a week where I'm actually doing weight training. And that has stayed the same for the most part. I've actually lowered the amount of hypertrophy training and upped the amount of strength training since I went from 250 to 220. And I'm maintaining the 220 pound mark right now, and have been for about 4 to 5 months actually now. And I've really been enjoying the functional training just because I can switch it up so much. It's what athletes do. It's what grapplers, jiu-jitsu athletes, wrestlers and whatnot, and that's the type of training that I like. But yeah, so functional strength, hypertrophy training, cardio, that's the styles of training that I did. Is how many times a week I did it. If you want to actually know the exact rep counts, break times, exercises themselves, feel free to click the link in my bio, fill out my online coaching application. I'll reach out to you personally and we'll hop on a free consultation call and I can walk you through those things and help you along your goals with whatever you're trying to do, whether it's become a better athlete, lose fat, build muscle, or both or all three. So the last thing is recovery. This is huge. If you're not taking the proper time to recover, you're in a state of overtraining. Your central nervous system is taxed. You're probably not getting the best sleep. You're probably stressed. You can't focus because your body is in fight or flight because it's trying to recover and recuperate from the hard training that you're doing in the gym. And recovery looks like a lot of things. But to put it in simple terms for somebody that, let's say you're a 9 to 5 or working some corporate job, you're not going to be taking the time that a pro athlete does, you know, in the cold plunge, the sauna, the hyperbaric chamber, the trigger point therapy, the cupping, the needling. You're not going to do all that. It's just not realistic. So I want to just shrink it down to something more realistic, and you can pick and choose what you need. And the number one thing is sleep. If you're getting 5 hours of sleep a night, you are likely not recovering and your body is not properly regenerating muscle in the way that it should be in the proper amount of time. That's going to be determined completely based off of you. So if I have a hard workout during the day, I need 8 hours. Like that's really the perfect amount for me in order to feel capable the next day of doing, let's say, a different style of hypertrophy training with some cardio, or a different style of functional training that I'm hitting different muscle groups. That's what I need. You need to play around with the amount of sleep that you get. If you have children, I understand that this can be very challenging to play around with your sleep because children obviously and typically dictate how much sleep you get depending on if they're fussy at night or having trouble sleeping and wake you up a few times. But the second thing is stretching. So your body needs to be fully capable of recovery, but then also armoring itself up in a defensive way so that you're not getting injured in your next training session. I see like probably 8 to 9 out of 10 clients that work with me that have trained on their own before me do not do any or much of any stretching. Stretching is a massive thing that I've worked with D1 athletes, professional athletes on the Dolphins and Cincinnati Bengals. I've worked with young children athletes that are in high school and younger. And the reality is that those athletes spend a ton of time, arguably just as much time, stretching as they do actually training because it's so essential for your recovery process and the defense against injury to be established. So what I do is if I do any type of a workout, I will do dynamic stretching at the beginning. That's a movement-based, blood flowing into the muscle groups that I'm about to be training. If it's a functional strength training day where I'm working out my whole body, then I will make sure to do a full body dynamic stretch, which looks like a lot of things: a full lower body warm up, doing leg kicks, butt kicks, hip flexor movements, upper body, especially if I'm using my upper body too, doing band rotations, make sure the rotator cuff is being activated because the shoulders in the upper body can typically be the first thing to get injured when you're doing hard upper body day. And then besides stretching, cold plunging and sauna is absolutely life-changing. And I'll hone that into specifically cold plunging. I'm telling you, when I began incorporating cold plunging into my weekly and off and on daily routine in the gym, it transformed my ability to recover and recuperate for the next day. And just in general, it wakes you up so much better than multiple cups of coffee. It just does. Your body just gets jolted awake. And then on top of that, like if I'm doing a leg day, I'll do just half of my body submerged, just up to my waistline. In my lower body, I will then go from that super cold place where there's barely any blood flow in my lower body right into the actual warm-up where blood flow is shooting back in, and any aches and pains I had, whether it be muscularly or even aches and pains in my joints or ligaments, they're gone because of the amazing anti-inflammatory effects that cold exposure has on your body. There's a lot of research about cold exposure via just a cold shower versus full submersion. I'm a full submersion guy. I think that it's definitely better. There's research going both ways. There's always going to be research going multiple ways. But that is a big thing. Now sauna as well, it's incredible. It's amazing for you, not just for recovery's sake, but for anti-disease in the long-term effects. I'm not an expert by any means on sauna. Like I'm not dove deep into that subject too much. I do it, a few times a month. I wish I was better at that. But doing a sauna is incredible because it taxes your body in the same way and it warms up your body in the same way that an actual dynamic warm-up will do. So some people will actually just jump in the sauna, do a tiny warm-up, and then go right into it because your blood flow into every muscle group is already there because your body is overexerting itself just to make sure that blood is flowing everywhere so that it's staying safe in the process of being in an environment that's way, way, way overheated. The last thing, which is in the video that I talked about, that's in the link in the description, is anti-inflammatory foods. If you are pounding processed, sugary, fast food while you're in the cutting process, I guarantee you it's going to take so much longer than normal because your body is just retaining a ton more water. It's retaining the fat, obviously. Typically as well, if you're eating those styles of food, you're probably way overdoing the amount of calories that you have. So this is how I went from 250 to 220 pounds. Cardio, walk you through it. Check out the beginning of the video again. Hypertrophy training 2 to 3 times a week. Functional strength training, which is my favorite. I love it. Passionate about working on it with myself and anyone that I'm working out with or training. And then last thing is recovery, which is borderline the most essential thing in the process. So guys, if you don't have a protocol of your own, hit me up. I'll help you through the process in the link in my bio. But besides that, I hope this was very helpful for you. If you're in the fitness journey right now of trying to cut fat, build muscle, become a better athlete, this video I hope really helped you. Appreciate you guys watching and sticking to the end of this video. Check out the next one coming this Saturday. Every video is coming out Tuesdays and Saturdays every single week. Love you guys. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. See you guys.